Hi, and welcome back, Boise Entrepreneur Week. Really excited today to be sitting down with Megan Lacy, one of the co-founders of Lumineye. While we've had a jam-packed day full of pitch competitions and fireside chats, wanted to get a chance to sit down with Megan as our last session of the day. So Megan, I got to start by saying you've had a long history with us.
Yeah.
So Lumineye was the 2018 pitch competition winner.
Yeah.
And then last year we sat down and did a fireside chat with you, which you can see on our YouTube channel, and talking about kind of the war story of going through all those rounds of pitching that you guys went through after 2018's BEW. So, really just want to check in with you, a pandemic has happened again, since then, what's been going on at Lumineye?
Yeah. Well, I guess a lot has happened since last year when we last talked. Just, I guess, a quick reminder is that, just for everybody that didn't see that talk, is that we build through-wall sensors for first responders. So basically, of a handheld device that senses where people are on the other side of structures for disaster response. Mm-hmm. And we've had a really good year. The first bit of the pandemic was really hard. I think people trying to transition into remote work and kind of what did the future look like. But I think we were able to really pivot well. We started doing remote through-wall sensing demos, which sounds kind of crazy. It requires a lot of camera work. We probably could have used your guys' help because we were using cell phones and stuff. But we were able to kind of do remote work, and then we were able to really transition back into what we're used to doing, working with our customers directly this past spring, and actually got some pretty big contracts with the Department of Homeland Security and some other pretty big organizations. And those have really propelled us forward over the last few months, and we've been able to even hire some new employees, which has been really exciting.
That is really exciting. So describe to me a little bit, what does the device look like? How does it actually interact? Because full disclosure, I've seen it, right?
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit, just so our viewers kind of understand what you're actually selling.
Yeah, so you can basically think of it as an oversized cell phone case.
Okay.
So it's basically a smartphone that's inserted to this oversized cell phone case, and then the Lumineye app is actually what shows you where people are inside of the structure, and that's how you control the radar device.
Yeah, and this is primarily used for emergency situations.
Yeah.
And so give me the typical user case or use case that an entity would need a device like this.
Yeah, so it really varies depending on which type of first responder, but we're seeing a lot now of search and rescue. So especially after the Florida condo collapse, there's been a lot of focus on basically how can we sense people through rubble during disasters. So that's something that you can use the device for. Also, we're now working with firefighters. So how can you use the device to sense into a burning building to find people in closets or hidden bedrooms? And then for other first responders, you can also use the technology for welfare checks. And then we've also had it used for situations like barricaded subjects and things like that. Yeah.
Well, and especially in those kind of situations, being able to understand where people are in a structure, it's a huge deal. I mean, any first responder wouldn't have to feel blind walking into a situation because you would know where either, someone you need to help or a potential threat could be.
Exactly. Just having more situational awareness before you enter the structure is better for the people inside of the structure and for the people that are outside the structure. So that's really what we focus on.
Yeah. I mean, it's super exciting. I've seen so many iterations of your product, even starting back in 2018 as a really rough prototype when you guys were pitching when you won. And you guys actually pitched in 2017's pitch competition as well. So when I say Lumineye's had a long history with Boise Entrepreneur Week, I mean, really OG is what we're really trying to say.
And we showed you cardboard in 2017.
We saw cardboard prototypes.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. You can come pitch at Entrepreneur Week with cardboard prototypes, and now you can be Megan Lacy. So I guess talk to me a little bit about what that experience was like, going back of kind of pitching in 2017, not making it through the finals, and then coming back and winning in 2018. Now, you guys haven't had to go do big cycles of fundraising. And so, talk to me about that path a little bit, because I think it's important for people to understand that there's a few different ways that you can go about building your company, and especially as it comes to fundraising.
Yeah. And I think the premise of fundraising and kind of the core of it is telling your story.
Right.
And I think that telling your story is important regardless of if you're going after really big VC money or if you're just going after a new customer. Understanding how to explain your product very simply. I mean, especially for us, because through wall sensing is nothing but complex.
Right.
So really being able to understand how your product works so well that you can explain it to someone that doesn't have any background on it, I think is valuable when you're going to a new customer base, when you're maybe for us applying to a government contract, when you're going to pitch to an investor. I just think it's a really valuable skill to have. And it also helps you kind of figure out where your gaps of knowledge are yourself on your own product.
Well, and pitching's in a lot of ways a way to get feedback too,
Yeah,
right? It's a way
yeah.
to kind of test, like, is this resonating with investors? It's also teaching you how to test that with potential customers as
Yeah.
well, to talk through all the, the various different ways that you need to tell that story to different audiences to get it right. So another really exciting part about your guys' journey was after the 2018 pitch competition win, you then went on and went to San Francisco. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so we went, we were in the Y Combinator summer 2019 batch, which was awesome. We were the last fully in-person batch, so I'm glad we went through when we did.
You missed each one of these waves, right? Or I shouldn't say missed. You got each one of these waves at the right time.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. So we were happy to be in person and be able to go to San Francisco. And I think that was a really good experience for us. We were able to meet a ton of other founders. I mean, we've met a lot in Boise, but I mean, you're just putting a cohort with a bunch of founders in the exact kind of same stage that you're in.
Yeah, they're all kind of around you
Yeah.
too. So it's a great opportunity to network with people who are having the same, trying to solve very similar types of problems that you're trying to solve.
Yeah, exactly. Because whatever your company is, a lot of the problems are the same when you're getting started. You know, we all kind of have to learn the same lessons. And so I think it was really awesome to have that group. And then I think, again, we got really good at telling our story in an even shorter format because at the end of Y Combinator, we had, I think, 2 minutes to pitch through wall sensing. And that is really hard. So I think it really honed in like what our core, like we would talk about core vertebrae in Y Combinator. And so just what are your core kind of things about your product that you want people to remember?
Well, and this year we just made all of our pitch competition participants do the whole pitch in 2 minutes. So,
wow.
Yeah, they.
I didn't realize that.
It was because you guys got 10 minutes when you did yours.
Oh my
so,
gosh. Yeah.
You know, you got it easy, honestly.
It's harder. The less time you have,
It's much harder.
Yes, the harder it is.
Yeah, part of the reason I personally love like elevator pitches is because you have to practice that. Any entrepreneur should figure out a way to hone in on your elevator pitch, which is usually like a minute, minute and a half. Because if you can get people nodding their head in that quick of an opportunity, then you know you have the right words and you're saying the right things to tell your story and get your idea out there. So, you know, part of the reason we keep bringing you back every year is because a lot of companies going off to Y Combinator, going off to Techstars, accelerators, you know, the thing that we want all of them to do is to come back to Boise. And so we're very excited that you guys went off and had these great experiences. You did have some other kind of competitions you participated in and raised some other money. So why Boise? Why did you come back to Boise?
Yeah, we all love Boise. I mean, a lot. So both my co-founders are from Boise. So, but I've fallen in love with Boise. I love the blend of the city and being able to be in the city, but then also being able to still get this great outdoor access. I'm a really avid runner, so the trails are very important to me, the Boise trails. And I think the ecosystem is just really awesome. I think sometimes you can kind of get lost in the shuffle in a really big city. And, you know, I think it's nice that like we have this community of entrepreneurs in the area and we all kind of know each other and we see each other regularly. And, you know, it doesn't take 60 minutes to drive to each other or something. So I think it's really cool.
It's funny because, you know, as that ecosystem has been built out, you're right, it is still like relatively small, but there's something really nice about being able to be like, hey, I just have this weird question and you know who would know the answer?
Yes.
Megan knows the answer, right?
Yeah.
And so I can just like text message Megan at like 10:30 at night. Probably don't do that. She might be sleeping, and usually I'll get a response, right? Like what other city can you have that kind of connection with, you know, an ecosystem? There's so much willingness here to help out, especially early stage entrepreneurs. I have always found that Boise, access to anyone is an email away. And I know that makes a big difference. So I'm glad to hear that that's a big reason why that you guys have come back and stayed.
Yeah.
So, something really excited we were talking about right before we went live here. You guys have started hiring your first employees. Like, tell
Yeah.
me about, now growing and that next phase of your company. Tell me about what's going on.
Yeah, so we've kind of entered a new era, I guess, where we are hiring a lot faster than we were in the past. We were a pretty small team for a few years. We had a few employees.
As most startups are.
Yeah, just, like 6 people kind of just chugging along. And then we were at 6 in July, and then now we're about 10. So we're growing pretty quickly. I think it's been really awesome to have more people. It's amazing how much faster you can get your work done when there's more people. And there's actually, I think the biggest thing for us has been having more engineers to focus on the engineering tasks all the time. Because when you have such a small team, people are really, they're being engineers, but also you're doing business development, you're doing admin tasks. And so I think what's been really cool is realizing how much an engineer can get in a day when they actually can focus on engineering.
Or they have to show up and pitch and talk to us live, all these things that you have to focus on. And there's always that kind of change that happens. It's around 10, maybe 15 employees where you really start having to, figure out how to maybe delegate for the first time, right? I mean, that's always one of those things that's kind of that learning curve. So have you guys started bumping up against that?
Yeah, I've had to learn a lot about that. I think, I can't speak to anybody else on the team, but I think we all have, learned it. But I know that for me, it's been a really big learning, because I think when you get into the startup, you're like, I can just do everything myself.
Right.
And
Put
you
on
kind
every
of,
hat.
and you learn how to make it work. So I think that that's been the big thing, is like, maybe I can do this, but is this the best use of my time right now? Is there somebody else on the team that's better at this? Is there someone that has more bandwidth right now? And do I really need to be doing this? And I think that is a really interesting thing that I've been learning a lot recently.
Well, and so much about early stage entrepreneurship, being able to flip through those multiple hats is really important. I think that you learn enough to be dangerous for when you keep growing, that you kind of know how to talk about that. But at the stages you guys are at now, it starts becoming more about specialization, right? So your first hires tend to be experts in the given thing that you need them to work on. You also, as founders, will start to specialize too. And it sounds like you guys are right in that mode, right? In that mode where you're starting to figure that out. And that's an exciting time. It's a really exciting time in the journey of kind of early stage entrepreneurship. And probably for you guys, the most exciting thing about this is all based on growth. I mean, you closed some contracts. I don't know if you can tell us about the contracts, but you've closed enough contracts now that you're actually having to get these devices to the federal government.
Yeah. I mean, I can't talk a ton about the specifics of them, but we're able to, I mentioned the Department of Homeland Security and really better ruggedizing our device for fire use. And so that's a really big thing that we're focused on right now. And then search and rescue use cases are also, so we're kind of expanding the different use cases that our tech can be used in, and also expanding to kind of new markets that we haven't been working on through these contracts, which is really exciting.
And so when you say ruggedize, are you talking about making the case?
Yeah, first responders are really good at breaking things.
Yeah, shocking.
Yeah. So not only does the technology have to be good, but the case that it's in has to basically be, fireproof and waterproof and dustproof and shockproof and dropproof and everything. So yeah.
Well, Megan, we're going to have to leave it there.
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much. Like I said, Megan and Lumineye are OG with Boise Entrepreneur Week, and we love having this conversation with you and checking in with you every year because we're really excited and really proud about how the trajectory of Lumineye has been going on, and so thankful that you're here and building that company and hiring now. Woo!
Woo!
That's an exciting time. So, for the Boise entrepreneur community, thanks for tuning in today. We're really excited to keep this momentum going into tomorrow. Tomorrow is another jam-packed day full of events. Certainly want to have you look at the schedule and tune in for Trail Mix, our food product pitch competition. It's a very exciting event where we try and demo as many of these early stage entrepreneurs, and the winner gets $25,000 in shelf space on Albertsons. As well, tomorrow is our only slate of in-person events. And so if you're looking to get some face-to-face time with other attendees and investors and some of these startups, we start at Jump at 1 p.m. in the afternoon for the Investors Choice Conference, and then our block party starts at 6 p.m. tomorrow. So hopefully see you down in person and masked up at Jump tomorrow. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.